Hi, everyone. My name is Whitney McAniff, and I'm Customer Experience Lead here at Google headquarters in Mountain View, California. I'm joined by my colleague, Tanisha Hospodale. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we're here for the third in our four-part series about common agency issues and how to resolve them with AdWords accounts. So today we're going to be talking about the granddaddy of them all, which is landing page quality and site suspensions. Yeah, we're really excited about this one. This is a super common issue. I'm sure all of you have dealt with something related to this with or on your end as with your agency site. So we're really hoping that there's going to be some actionable steps that you're going to be able to walk away from this HOA with, so you're able to resolve these much more quickly. Yes. Cool. So this is a live event, so feel free to leave any comments or questions that you have in the chat box on the advertiser community page. And if you add them after, we'll actually make sure that we go through and answer those as they come up. So definitely feel free to leave us anything that's top of mind. Cool. Really quick look at today's agenda. It is jam-packed.
Yeah,
but
very jam-packed.
We're excited about this content here. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into the first one.
So what is landing page quality, or LPQ? So it's one of the main site suspensions that we see in reference to AdWords accounts. It's a sign our policy team just looked at your site and there's something there that doesn't fit within our policy, so we suspended it. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but we're going to take you through that after this.
Yeah, cool. So a really important thing to note is that a site suspension is not an account suspension. So if you're running an AdWords account that is advertising 3 different domains and one of them gets suspended for some reason, the other 2 domains within that AdWords account are still allowed to advertise and run ads. Now, if you're running 3 AdWords accounts for the same domain and that domain gets suspended, they're going to go down on all 3 of those AdWords accounts. So it's really tied to the website itself. That being said, if you have multiple site suspensions within one AdWords account, that can result in an account suspension. We really don't want you to get to that place. I'm sure some of you have been there. It's incredibly difficult to fix because you actually need to go through and resolve each and every site suspension and get those back up and approved, even if you're no longer running ads for that site before the account goes up.
And it's not fun, so we just want to make sure that we avoid that, and we help you guys be successful in AdWords.
Yeah, the key to this is when you have a site suspension, just attack it and get it resolved as quickly as possible. Don't delete ads.
Yeah, doesn't solve the problem.
Doesn't solve the problem. So you can't hide from it. You just
hide from us.
You just want to get out there in front of the bus and take care of it. Okay, so one that we see a ton is usefulness.
Yes.
Also known as site not working.
This is like one of the easiest to fix, honestly. So you see this GoDaddy page here, and this other GoDaddy page next to it. There's no content on this site. This page is not technically useful for users. So it's a lot of park domains, a lot of bridge pages, a lot of pages are just full of ads and spam. So those type of sites we don't really like for them to run on AdWords.
It's just low quality from the user's perspective, and if you're an advertiser, running ads on that, that's also frustrating.
Yeah.
So that's going to go down. Very easy to fix. Make your site useful. Site not working is another classic. These are usually issues on your end or the domain host end, whether there's 404 errors, the site is in a feedback loop, so it's constantly cycling, it doesn't load, or the biggie, the site doesn't work in all countries and territories. This applies even if you're just advertising towards people in a certain region. Let's say you're only showing ads to Canadians and Canada. If your website isn't visible all around the world, it's actually not going to run on AdWords. This is for multiple reasons. Canadians can travel and they can look at ads in other countries. So we do want this to be as accessible as possible. The other reason is that our reviewers actually sit all over the world. So we need to be able to access your site to make sure that it fulfills our policy requirements.
With the 404 error, one thing to note here, it could be something like an image or something not loading on your site, not just your site not loading. So make sure that you actually inspect the element, the back end of your site, to ensure everything on the page is loading as well.
Yeah, and if you want to circle back to our ad approvals hangout that we did last week, we actually discussed some tools for resolving site not working and landing page not working errors, such as Chrome developer tools and things like that. So definitely take a look because there's some useful stuff there if you're running into this frequently. Okay, non-user friendly sites. What does that mean? Basically, is it annoying? So are there pop-ups or interstitials that actually interfere with the user's ability to see the website that they wanted to go to? Do you make it impossible to go back to another page? Are you not loading quickly on browsers or on mobile devices? Generally, is it something that you as a user wouldn't want to go to that website if you were just browsing the web? It might get dinged for that.
The user should be able to go to your site and take some action without you asking for like their email or pop up and the screen won't go away unless you put in their first and last name. They should be able to kind of navigate your site prior to having to do any of that.
Correct. Okay, so this is kind of the holy grail LPQ issue, which is unrealistic promotions or misleading claims. I'll let you take it away then, since you love this one.
So unrealistic promotions. So this is one that we see a lot just because I feel like it appeals to, or not appeals, what's the word I'm looking for?
It applies.
Applies to a lot of different people. So using false claims or claims to entice the user with an improbable result. So an example would be like lose 10 pounds in 5 days. Grow your hair in hours. So things that are kind of like a little improbable. Even if it may work, you still need to put a claim there because it may not work the same for everybody. So unrealistic promotions, it's not as hard as everyone thinks it is. We just need to make sure that your site abides by all our policies.
Yep, that's correct. And if you're going to be making a claim, right, like you can lose up to 10 pounds in 1 week, like the example that we have on this slide, you're going to need to back that up either with third-party evidence that proves that you will lose 10 pounds in 1 week, guaranteed, or a disclaimer, or take away the claim itself and say, people have seen results like this, or testimonials. Just really important. And there's some really good resources actually at our Help Center that will guide you with some examples here.
And that applies to pictures as well as text, just to put that out there. And the same with this one that's up next too.
Yeah, so any sort of miracle cure, like we cure cancer or restores hearing loss permanently.
Diabetes.
Yes, exactly. Or any sort of extreme weight loss product, things like, you know, make $10,000 in a month using our job program, that sort of stuff. Any sort of miracle type product is going to be considered a misleading claim. Same thing as if you're offering something that the government does for free and charging users for it, whether it's things like, you know, get a copy of your birth certificate, file tax forms, anything that a user can actually do for free and you're charging them for it. Or promotions that resemble like errors or warnings, like warning, malware on your site, you know, you need to download this program now to get rid of it, that sort of thing. One thing to note is that it's not that these can't be advertised. It's just that they need to fit within our policy parameters. So for example, if Tanisha runs a business that files tax forms for people that they can normally file for free, and she is charging them money for that, she needs to be very clear on her website what she offers, what the charge is for, and what, in addition to what the user can do for free, is she offering them for that money, as well as giving them the option to go and do it for free via the government. So it's all about just being as clear and straightforward as possible. Cool. Okay, specific or permanent claims. This is kind of akin to the miracle cure idea. There are some things that just aren't permanent, and you can't claim that they're such. Even if your product permanently gets rid of 10 pounds, we're still not going to allow you to say that because of the off chance that there's a user who gains a pound back.
Or like Whitney may lose 10 and I may lose 5. So that didn't work for both of us the same. So that's where that disclaimer comes in.
Yeah, and something that I see very often is a user will really fix up their site, do a great job and make a really good effort here and have something that is a permanent claim, like restore eyesight and eliminate hearing loss. That's considered permanent, even though it doesn't use the word permanent. So just be very careful with any sort of language around that. We are really careful with that with our websites and our reviews.
Yeah, and we can help you if you guys call in and like need a little guidance on how you can make the wording in your site fit within our policies.
Guarantees, one thing to note, are not allowed unless you get your money back. So you can't say something's guaranteed and then not back that up with anything there. So that's really important as well. And we see that one a lot, pretty often. Okay, so general claims, things like you can lose weight. Some people have improved their eyesight. That's so much better than a permanent claim, but you're going to need to actually have disclaimers that say results may vary.
Yes.
This is not typical. Like Tanisha said earlier, before and after photos are also going to count as claims. Any testimonials need disclaimers. And the key thing in disclaimers, and something we see quite a lot, is the disclaimer needs to be generally the same size font and the same color and in the same area of your website as the claim that it's attached to. Right. So it can't be a little asterisk and down at the bottom of your page and in size 6 font,
white, and
on a white background. That's not going to work. It needs to be visible to the user. It really just comes down to the user experience here.
And it helps speeding up the process of getting your site reviewed, because if we can't find a disclaimer, we can't actually lift the suspension.
Yep, exactly. Okay, so like we said, what counts as a disclaimer? And only for general claims. If you are making a permanent or a specific claim, lose 10 pounds in 10 days, permanently lose 10 pounds for the rest of your life, it's never coming back. Permanent one is a no-go, and the specific one needs to be backed up by that third-party research showing that it's true. Okay, so we're going to take a breather because that was a lot. And let's check for any questions. Let's see if we got anything going here. Cool. Yeah. Oh my gosh, we have some. Okay. Well, first off, we want to say thank you to Street, who last week said this was going to be really helpful, and we hope you're watching, and we hope it is.
Yes.
So
hey, Street.
Appreciate that. Okay. Cool. So.
Okay. Sorry for those of you who can hear us at first.
Apologies about the sound. Okay, great. Peter said, how do you follow up to determine the validity of guaranteed offers? So we're not here to try your product and make sure that we lose 10 pounds in 10 days. But all we ask is that if you do offer a guarantee, you offer money back for that. If we get a complaint from a user that you offer money back and you aren't following through on that, that could potentially put you in trouble with our policy team, but we're actually not going to purchase the product and try it and guarantee the validity. We just ask that if you say, hey, guaranteed that you get this result, you back that up with offering the user their money back. That's a really good question. Okay, so let's hop back into this. And we're going to talk about malicious content. This is the stuff that can be frustrating.
Yes.
So what malicious content is actually not like the content on your site is mean or bad. It actually has to do with malware. So that's just malicious software. It is something that is trying to infect a host computer for bad purposes. Google overall, not just with our ads, but also with our organic results and across the board, really tries to protect users from malware. It's something we really care about. So this follows through for all of our advertising products.
And I get a lot of phone calls that are like, I didn't put any malware on my site. So you never put malware in your site. Malware infects your site. So you probably wouldn't know it was there unless you got this notification from us.
It's like having mono and you don't realize that.
You didn't give yourself mono.
Yeah, someone gave it to you.
Yeah.
So malware. If you go down for malware or malicious content, it means your site is infected with malware, potentially installing it on a visitor's computer. Usually malware comes from a third-party content, whether this is a file, a video, a plugin that you use that has brought it into your site. Sometimes it even takes over your whole domain completely and redirects you to a site that infects a user's computer. This is where you want to be really, really careful and work with your web developer if you have access to one to make sure that your site is completely clear of malware. It's just not a good user experience overall.
Yeah, we have some tools on our help center as well. If you do a quick search for malicious content, you should get to the article. I think it's like 3 or 4 tools that we have that you can use to see if there's any malware on your site.
Yep, and super useful to go through that and just double check just for general site health. One other thing to note is that if we know something has a security vulnerability, but doesn't necessarily have malicious software on it at this moment, it could potentially get taken down for malicious content as well. So if you're using third-party plugins, that sort of thing, and Google knows, hey, this particular plugin has had longstanding issues with this, we could also flag you for that. So just be careful of that. Okay, omission of relevant information. This comes back to the usefulness, where there's a site that doesn't have content that is actually useful for a user. This goes one step further and says, okay, this site has content, but it doesn't fully close the loop about what that content is.
And like who this business is.
Exactly. So if I can't go to your website and figure out your business model and how you make money, you're potentially going against this policy. It should be very clear to me that, like, hey, this website is for Tanisha's business and she makes money doing X, Y, Z, and I pay her for Y result. That is how it should go. So a great example of this is a loan company that isn't super clear about how it's making money. So you need to be also really clear about the payment model. What am I paying for? That needs to be completely explicit before I enter any personal information or payment information. The user needs to be kept completely out of the dark and in the light about everything that is going on and what they are paying money for.
The one we see the most in terms of omission of relevant information is physical contact information for financial services. You can definitely run your business on AdWords, but you need to have a physical location, your email, your phone number, your name, something that tells the user if they have an issue or needs to get in contact with you, they can do that.
Yep. And
then omitting material information that is important when it's a charity or a donation. We need to know where the money's going, what organization it's going to, what you're using the money for, things like that.
It makes sense. If I'm going to pay money, I want to know where it's going. And if I have an issue, I need to be able to track that back. Okay, we'll take a quick question break. Okay. Ben is asking a question about an ad that he was running before. Unfortunately, since I don't have account information here, I can't go back and tell you exactly what was going on with the site. But the question is generally about that it was a legitimate giveaway, but Google wouldn't let the ad run. My gut instinct hearing that is that it was actually an omission of relevant information problem. It wasn't clear what the user was getting, what the terms of the giveaway were, things like that.
There could also be some misleading promotions there if you had like 1 in 3 or 3 people win this gift every week or something like that. Like, so you know how lotteries sometimes are like 5 people have won this month, and like you're like, okay, but 2 people will win it next month. So it could be some misleading promotions there too. But yeah, give us a call and we can take a look.
I would say call, chat, or email in if you do want to follow up and close the loop on this specific issue. But now that you have some more of these tools, you can maybe go back to the website and see, hey, is there something that we were missing here that was kind of obfuscating what the point of the website was from the user? And that might be why Google had done that. Okay, so TechG is asking why site suspension and call only campaigns. There's no direct contact between the user and the website. That's a great question. That's because Google doesn't care if the user calls, emails, sees your business address and drives to you and never clicks on your site. If you're advertising on us, you have a website, you have to have a website. It's a basic requirement of using AdWords, and we need to know that your website fits our policies. So regardless of how the user accesses your business, maybe you run an ad that never gets any clicks, so no user goes to your website. We're still potentially going to suspend it. So really good question there. This is regardless of campaign types. All of these rules apply.
That was a really good question.
Yeah. Cool. Getting your site reapproved. We hope. Fixing your site, basically, my biggest piece of advice is make sure you solve the problem before you submit your site for review.
Time and time again, we get an email or a chat or a phone that's like, I made the changes to the site. But we go to the page where we instruct you to make the changes and there have been no changes. So maybe even double checking before you call or email in, because it speeds up the process for you.
And the other thing is that every time that you send a site through for review, it takes time. It's a human reviewer. They really go through it with a fine-tooth comb. So you are setting yourself back 24, 48, 72 hours every time you submit a site for review and the issues haven't been fully resolved. Because what's going to happen is we're going to wait until the review comes back.
Yep.
We're going to find out there's more issues. You're going to fix those, send it back for review, and you get caught in this really awful feedback loop that frankly no one at Google enjoys. I know externally it's incredibly frustrating. So really make a concerted effort to be as conservative as possible with your changes. Really try to go to the fullest extent of the law and try to understand the reason behind the law and really where these policies are coming from, because that'll help, when there's gray area decisions that you need to make on your site, that'll hopefully help guide you to make the right ones. So once you've confirmed that you've made the necessary changes to your site, and by the way, you can use all the resources available to you, including our live support channels. If you have questions or want further clarification, you can either search for Fix a Suspended Site on Google, and you'll find our AdWords Help Center page. We also have it linked here, and we can follow up with a link on the community page if you just want quick access to that. Or give us a call, chat, or email, and we can submit it for review. One thing to note is that the review queue is the same if you're going through the Google support team, the AdWords support team, or if you submit it yourself externally. So you're not necessarily going to have a faster result going either way. It all goes into the same queue. Okay, so.
This is important.
Yes.
Fixing your site suspension does not lift the disapproval status of your ad.
Correct.
So if your site is no longer suspended, you will see the status of your ad go from site suspended to disapproved, but it won't go automatically to approved. So we have to resubmit them somehow. You can either do it yourself. We mentioned that in our video last week, hovering over the speech bubble, clicking resubmit your campaign for review, or you can give us a call, chat, email, we can do it for you. But please note that once that suspension is lifted, that does not mean your ads are automatically approved.
Yep, don't freak out. If your ads aren't running, but your site suspension has been lifted, they're probably disapproved. So it is one last step, but make sure to cross all of your T's and dot all of your I's here and get those ads back up and running. Cool. So
and I just talked about that, but there are the steps right there.
Yeah, so just hovering over the speech bubble under the status column and resubmitting the campaign for review. You can also resubmit the whole account if you want to with one fell swoop. Okay, great. So you have a ton of resources. You can tweet us, you can call us, you can watch us on YouTube, you can go to the AdWords Help Center, which is awesome for policy issues. So I highly recommend it. They have some really relevant examples there. But definitely, keep asking us these really good questions. And we will follow up on any that come onto the community page after this. We know this is a sensitive topic for a lot of people. So do definitely use all the support resources that you have at your fingertips. Yep. Cool. Okay, so next week we're going to cover another really fun one, and it's the final one in our series, which is Merchant Center suspensions. So really hope those of you who have clients that deal with shopping join us for that, because there's been a lot of questions about policy and data quality suspensions.
Updates. So yeah, make sure to tune in.
Yep, same time next week. Okay, cool. Thanks so much, guys.
Bye.